I don't always double fist it, but when I do, it's probably Homebrew Wednesday. Stay thirsty, my friends. Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody. It's beer time, right? So I didn't give any report on how these beers turned out. So this one, this IPA, this was the mishmash. We put all kinds of leftover stuff in this one. But it turned out all right. It's a little high on the bitterness for me personally, but for Christian, man, he's just digging on it. And so he's taken growlers, he's shared it with friends, and gotten really nice compliments off of it. So it's not so bad, I guess, right? I like that it has some decent malt character to it now that it's kind of mellowed out a little bit. The filtering was pretty good on our filtering with a white filter from Bouncer, and also then putting our whole big hop filter, this generally for boiling it right, and siphoning right out of that. That's just fantastic the way that works. And so this has been an enjoyable IPA for what's supposed to be the warmer months of summer. We've kind of taken a slow pace getting there, but it's 81 right now here in Oregon, so it's a beautiful day. I'm going to take a walk around in a little bit, but I thought I'd give some quick updates. So this beer's tasting kind of nice. And then, of course, I've got the other one right here. This is my original recipe, Utter Chaos. I don't think many people have ever really had this one. They've had the comp ones I've done, which were light versions of this. Wow. I just love this beer. This is a milk stout. It's got a little bit of the roasty quality that you would get out of a porter. And yet it's very smooth, and it has that, nice little bit of sweetness that you get from a milk stout. It just is this beautiful balance with some chocolate character going on, and using two different types of chocolate malts in it. This was, I came up with this recipe once, one and done. I did a lot of research on it and really thought through how I wanted to balance it out, and I was lucky that it worked right the first time, and I've just never cared to change this recipe at all. I experiment with everything. I mean, even the best beers I've made, not this one. This one's done. I did think that I might do some fun stuff, though. I might have to go to, believe it or not, this was not an advertisement. Might have to go to Bouncer and get the, Growler Bro? I think Growler Bros. I might need Growler Bros. It would be really fun to pour some of this and do a coffee. Do some coffee beans, just chop it a little bit, light grind to no grind, just beans, and see what happens when I add coffee. That could be really fun since it's such a good beer to start with. And then I also thought it might be fun to do the same thing, but add some cocoa nibs on it and see what happens. Since this is just so well balanced, it'd be a fun experiment. Quick personal health update. So back surgery has been some weeks out now. This is now July the 12th, and I had surgery on, I think it was June 12th. Yeah, 1 month. I'm 1 month out, so that's good. I got another week and a half, 2 weeks before I go back and see the surgeon again for another visit. But I've been trying to behave. It all depends on your definition. I need to be doing more moving, so I actually mowed yesterday. Didn't ask the missus to do it, and just been careful on what my movements are, but making sure I'm getting a little bit of stretching in and things as I prepare in 2 weeks to start in with PTO. So I'm doing pretty good. The original pain's not there, but just pain, I think, which is more on the healing side, is occasionally there, especially if I overdo it. All right. Oh, this is way too good. All right, let's go do a little walkabout, shall we? Hard switching back to the IPA after utter chaos. It's like I'm drinking stinkweed now. It's like kind of my palate's got to readjust. I'll suffer through it. So I built myself a little birdhouse. Never done that before. I had scrap wood and got it on a nice little fasten kit. I found this little harness at Home Depot, and then I created this little it's wire actually, and it's enclosed, and so I made that, got that all set up, and looks like there's some seeds on the side, so I'd say that birds have found it. I just haven't had the opportunity to watch them doing it, but that's kind of fun. I like that color. Added flowers for the missus to make it nice and cute. We've had a hummingbird over here visiting our flowers, so we added a hummingbird feeder over here. So he has visited a few times, and we'll see if any other hummingbirds find it. I need to do trimming on this to keep it more like bonsai-ish, if you will. But I don't know. Taking care of my back's a priority. We got some veggies going, cucumbers. Been a weird late start. The blueberries are almost completely empty. The grandsons came and devoured everything, and then the blue jays have been out here taking the rest of it, but they're pretty good. These ones, believe it or not, some of these ones right here were volunteer. They grew up right in our compost pile, and I just planted some beans, so we'll see if they start sprouting here soon. Just put the seeds in the ground 2 days ago. I don't know what all this has over here, but I'd say it looks like some basil and thyme and stuff like that. Tomatoes, got some tomatoes started. Strawberries, a few on there still growing. And believe it or not, they haven't yielded anything, but that right there and over here, these are huckleberries. The back was great. We had irises cranking recently, and I got to clean this area up. But we used to have a red Japanese maple there. We moved that to the front yard. So everything's just growing like gangbusters. I clipped some of this stuff back the other day because it's just gotten so huge. Now this is kind of fun. All right, I planted a little garden back over here by the wetlands, and it's only doing so I just planted these, so they're just kind of starting to come up, and I just put some seeds down for beans too. But take a look here. These are Willamette hops that I shoved over here when I decided I don't use Willamette enough, and they're just they're just doing fantastic. So I think, you know, and then, oh, and lo and behold, look over here, there's some more of them growing down the line over there. So I think I'm gonna have to do something to give them some poles or something to climb here. I'll come up with something unique. I've got an idea in mind. And meanwhile, the hops, it's kind of a sad thing over here. We got our grapevines going. The main cascade, of course, is doing just fine, and this second cascade I bought has just really been a slow growth plant. It's really taken its time. I think I might have to go buy another one to see if it'll do something. But the Magnum had 2 vines coming up, and something, 2 or 3, that something got them, topped them both off so that they didn't keep going, and it stunted their growth. So I just now have another vine coming up. So that's sad, because first year with those I got some Magnum. I don't know if I'll get much of anything this year. Hopefully next year we'll do a lot better. Maybe it's doing something good down there on the roots, hopefully. But the rest of the yard's looking good. This Japanese maple here we grew from a seedling. So our little green thumb going. And it's doing great. I love how the side yard kind of works its way down.
We had a lot of flowers off the rhododendron, and we got hydrangeas coming up. They'll be blooming soon, but I gotta put a bucket away. But look at the pathway, so, and our hops going up, so things are just looking great in the yard. So in the front yard, we kind of thinned things out. We had David viburnum in this corner. We've changed that out to something that'll be evergreen. We'll let that grow, and I'm sure, God, that was tiny when we planted it just, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. We tried to move that hosta to here, and even with the hot afternoon sun, it still seems to be doing okay, but part of it came up from whatever, the bulbs or roots or whatever, and you can see here's our red maple that's, we had to trim it quite a bit so we could get under and get the roots up, get a big old ball up, but that'll grow and kind of hang down and whatnot. Tried to thin some of this out. I shaped this because it was getting so big we couldn't get down our path. This was supposed to only get 5 feet tall, right? And then this is just kind of another little back area. All right, just open the gate here. Again, a lot of it's just volunteer. This is another maple that we grew from roots, from seedling off of our others. And I gotta clean. I haven't cleaned up over here, but oh yeah, this needs some work. This is another little side jungle, but it looks nice when it's cleaned up. And you can see we got a couple types of hydrangeas coming in here as we make it back into the yard and the garden. But things are looking good. You know, things grow in Oregon. What can I tell you? And we watched the geese learn to fly again this year. 2 different families teach them how to fly, and watched them raise them till they took off. And of course, plenty of ducks and little ducklings as well. So it's been a pretty spring and beginning of summer.
Oh, and my back said it wanted to break, so I'm sitting again. I have to listen to it. Pay it its due. So this is a Friday, really. It's not really a Wednesday. Homebrew Wednesday is every day of the week. It's kind of like Christmas should be every day of the year. Or maybe you should say F It Friday should be every day of the year except on Wednesday. So what are you brewing at home right now? You know, a lot of people brew big time in the winter and some brew big in the summer. I don't know. We all have our own reasoning. And but tell me what you're brewing and maybe what I should be brewing. I've got a few things in mind, and the back has slowed me down because I wanted to show you some new tricks I came up with, and I want to experiment with them and share them with you all. But I'd sure love to hear what you're up to. Write me a note, tell me what you're brewing and any creative ideas you might have. Anyway, you guys have a great week. Brew some wonderful beer. Tell me about it, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.